Alright, tell us more about this vessel.
You sure you want to get into the gritty bits, dude?
The truth is gritty, Will. Now, start off.
Alright, but if you throw up at the thought of evisceration, don't complain to me, dude. Alright, so it starts a little bit like this. So the ship involved in the incident was the SS Lansing. Now Lansing sounds very rad and Swedish, but the ship wasn't always known as that. Lansing was built in 1959 as the Dudley Castle, I think she was called. Yeah, she served South Africa from the 1960s up until 1977, when her line closed down and she was almost sold for scrap, until she was bought and refurbished in 1981 and into service as the Lansing for Artemis lines. So yeah, we tried everything we could to make her as rad as possible for the new audience, cause keep in mind, she was an old ship by that standard. We need to do something with her. Not to mention our budget wasn't the greatest at the time. Despite the financial shortcomings, Lansing ended up putting Artemis lines on the map, and by 1985, I was hired.
What was your impression of the ship at first?
Old considering what was being built at the time. However, I thought it'd be good cash because who in the right mind thinks they'll be paid $15 an hour for flipping burgers, man?
Unfortunately, a lot of people think like that. Alright, you have the floor.
So, when I was hired, I was transferred to the Lansing.
Okay, what was your job?
Housekeeping. Wasn't really much considering I had to change everyone's beds for them every day, but hey, as long as I got paid and had a house to come home to, it was alright. I mean, hey, you could be working in a dumpster and yet the payments are heaven. Yeah, you could be working at a prestigious lab, and yeah, the moment you're fired, you're a homeless person, dude. What do you know? I'll continue on, dude. So yeah, one day in 1987, the Lansing was working in the Hawaiian Islands for week-long voyages. Trust me, bro, the waves were very gnarly down there. A lot of people were swimming in the beach that day. So after a few hours, the ship left, and I finished my housekeeping duties. The rooms were all clean, ready for people to sleep and vibe in them again. One rule for housekeepers, don't expect people to say, "Thanks, bro." Nights at sea were crowded as ever. People were dancing, drinking, getting themselves into trouble, all sorts of things. Nowadays, they don't let you go wild anymore, dude. Violates health and safety. Lansing never really operated past 99% capacity since 1983. One of the cabins, 122, was sealed off.
Did anything necessarily happen in that cabin?
Yeah, I'll get to that later.
Don't look at me and say I'll talk about it later. Tell me, did it happen or not?
You really want to know, dude? I'm already at the risk of unemployment because of all this.
Well, no one other than the site director is watching, so you can continue.
Alright, so they say in 1983, 2 years before I went onto the cruise line, someone died aboard the Lansing in cabin 122.
Cause of death being?
Yeah, there was really no autopsy report given the body was never physically found, but reports say she was likely either murdered or drowned in her own bathtub. Both theories don't really add up because she was traveling alone on that cruise, and there was no bathroom in cabin 122. Yes, I know, Lansing still had communal bathrooms. So yeah, after extensive searching of the room with no conclusive evidence, the room ended up being boarded up and a doorknob was removed. So ever since then, Lansing had been operating on 99% capacity. They were even considering removing the room altogether and putting in a new one in its place. I personally think that would have fixed the issue. The past 4 years after that weren't really a problem for Lansing from that point onward. Yeah, until this cruise changed everything. Things started going wrong, not even on the first night. The moment it left port, someone reported that the faucet went on by itself in one of their cabins. Another one claimed that one of the skeet shooters was unnaturally twisted to point towards them. Oh yeah, don't even get me started on one of the first-class restaurants. Every night seemed to get worse than the last. Went from mildly rad to super gnarly in a amount of days. First, it started out as doors closing by themselves, people feeling severe migraines, although some had the audacity to say they were being caressed in their sleep. Not to mention, silverware was being thrown across the kitchen floors. Even kind of got to the point where passengers in the dozens were fleeing at the stopover ports to avoid the chaos. Now, it wouldn't really be a big deal if the thing was a mega ship capable of holding thousands of people, but the thing was really only capable of 700 people, so yeah, kind of a loss. Those brave enough to stay on board ended up partying long into the night, saying they never saw anything that was abnormal. Until the seventh night. The ship was concluding our cruise, and... Is something wrong? Yeah, it's not really a good thing to talk about, dude. So, after the captain decided to conclude the voyage and return back to Honolulu, things started to get a bit haywire. Now, at times as early as 2:50 in the morning, there were sounds of physical distress, virtually in every single corridor of the ship. More sounds came into play, including shouting and even children crying. I don't know what shit the thing went through as Dudley Castle, but I sure don't want to know. Anything we should not know? Dude, I swear to Bondi Beach, if you don't stop interrupting me, I may not just tell you the whole end of it. As you wish, continue. Yeah, thank you, dude. So I was at the housekeeping quarters when the power suddenly went off. Not just the lights and electrical sockets, but virtually everything. The engines just stopped running. So now here we are, on a ship that's dead in the water. Everything electrical that relied on power is gone. Did the crew find anything? No, not really. They couldn't find the root cause. Mechanically, the turbines are fine. Though I will tell you, Lansing's turbines never really worked properly after that. Always broke down at their most random at times. Got so bad they had to convert it to diesel. So the crew ended up trying to find the central circuit breakers to reactivate power to the ship, and believe it or not, didn't really turn back on. There was no real issue with it. After a while, they managed to turn on some of the lights back on. The only ones they were able to reactivate were the ones in the corridors. So I ended up finding myself in deck 3, trying to find the crew stairwells to the top deck. Until I ended up going to a dead end and found the room. At the time, I didn't know what room 122 was all about, and at the time I thought it was strange to see a cabin with no room number and without a doorknob. Though the things I did know was that there was an odd gap between 121 and 123 in the cabin listing, and not to mention that there were noise complaints coming from this dead end. Eager to see what secrets are being kept inside, I looked inside the knob hole. A bunk and a wash sink. All that, nothing else. At least that's what I thought. Really? That's it? I think the dudes forgot about this cabin during renovation. I'll just turn back and tell the captain about this. He may know something about this door. Probably. I don't really remember much after that, but what I do remember is that a few moments afterwards, the lights turned back on and the engine started working again. The ship was able to make its way home to Honolulu after that. Yeah, and then I passed out from the blood loss. I ended up waking up in the ship's med bay. Transfusions galore, I tell ya. Cleaning crew were quick to clean up the mess, what they called my mess. Cover story was published saying that I had suicidal thoughts and tried to kill myself. Of course it's a load of bull. I'm a surfer, dude. I've got nothing to feel sad for, man. And sadly, people bought it because passengers couldn't hear my screams in the corridors. Or her screams. Don't give me that look, dude. I'm just a no-good civilian that always gets in the way of your projects. I bet you haven't even seen at least one spirit orb in your life. Some paranormal investigators you are, dude. Such a mood.
Mr. Chad, you're discharged.
Alright, I'll let you do your rocket science. Just saying, there are better places to be than just underground, dude.
Just gonna inform Dr. Horst about this. We're gonna administer Chad with amnestics and then discharge him. And we're gonna have to get our team assigned to decommission the Lansing. A replacement vessel will be ordered with Foundation funds.